We have another...
I feel like there's more pigs. Oh, I don't have this on, by the way.
Very, very professional cast coming out
ready.
here from the DreamLeague studios. Yeah, no, we have a game number 3 coming out here between Forward Gaming and EG, and we're actually just joking with production over in the other room. It was clearly planned that we all would get our prediction wrong, because we know that we've been cursing teams by saying which ones are going to win. So we figured if we all said the same thing, we would get a game 3.
That was my logic. I don't know if you guys had the same logic, but that was my logic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%.
You're welcome.
Right?
No, I'm just an idiot.
Well,
good on you for, you know, we're still in denial over here a little bit. But, yeah, what did we think about last game?
Acceptance is the first step to improvement. Last game, yeah, things just not working out for Forward in the laning stage, and then you got to scramble all game basically. I think Universe put in a heroic effort trying to keep his team on top, but as a Nature's Prophet, having so many different things to consider and to do, he can't be everywhere at all at once. And Sumail with those boots of travel could be everywhere at once,
and he was everywhere at once. Every time Rezo showed up, I felt like there was a Sumail there. Same thing like with, what was it, Crit, just always on Sven.
Yep.
He was not getting anything done that time.
You ideally need a core right now. With the meta that is going on with how active trial lanes are especially, you want to be sure to pick up a core that will be able to combat in said trial lane and be very useful. And that's where we really saw the weakness of Ursa, at least in this specific matchup. So, again, we're talking about it. If they had the chance to replay this game, you know, same draft and everything, pretty sure they would send Ursa to the safe lane and try to make it work around that. But not the case. So, very well drafted and well played ultimately by EG. And thus the game 3.
So what do we think we're going to see this time around coming out from these teams? Are we going to see something that's a little bit more comfort-based? Because, you know, this is the big one, right?
This is it. This is it. Where it goes to the major.
Yeah. Or do you think we're going to see, you know, maybe playing around a little bit more, maybe trying to do kind of like more early strats with like pushing? Or will we still see, you know, we've seen this Tiny and this OD twice now. And every time we've seen the Tiny, it has just performed so well. Do you think they're going to allow that to get through, or do you think that's going to be a ban?
I would probably ban it if I'm not first pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So. What about the OD? Now, again, this time it wasn't enabled quite as easily because before we had Rezo on the Faceless Void and he was able to get a really nice chrono, and then you just had the OD wailing on people. Second game didn't have that kind of lockdown, right?
Yeah.
You had, you know, an Ursa who unfortunately was incredibly underfarmed. So do you think they're still going to pick up that OD? Do you think they'll ban it? Do they think it's an issue?
I think that the longer it goes into a series like that, the more of a liability it becomes. We saw one not so successful lane counter pick, a second much more successful lane counter pick. I would be surprised to see it for Forward, but I think it's a risk for EG as well because it's going to be very much on everyone's minds. And at this point, I think you got to try something a little bit different. And from EG, I expect once again a very lane dominant kind of draft.
Okay.
Yeah, not going into the game with a pre-mindset, not that either team is, but just kind of adapting to the flow of the game. I do agree with Kips that if you do not have the first pick, ideally ban Tiny. That hero has proven to be one of the most, and I was actually going to look it up real quickly, but I'll do that here. I have a little more time, but
take it to go for it.
I'm pretty sure Tiny
I've just been told that the game coordinator is down. So
well, we might have a lot of time here. Okay. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Tiny is the most picked hero right now in these qualifiers, and you know, I think and none of us are surprised at that. No. By hearing that.
It's been like across all the regions, this hero has just consistently been like one of the top picks. And again, I think it comes back to like what you were saying, Kips, the fact that you have this hero that can punish any sort of bad placement. You just get a little too close to that Tiny and you're near that tower, he's going to toss you back. It doesn't even need to be near a tower. He just has this capability to grab you, toss back to your teammates, and in some cases, you know, toss a teammate or... We're not going to talk about that.
No?
But, you know, I think that it does come down to that, right?
Yeah. Like, in general, it's not just Tiny Airlines, right? But it's also that this hero has a huge AoE stun with a lot of reach. His combo can nuke down waves, so he can farm relatively fast for that Blink Dagger as well, compared to a lot of other pos 4s. Of course, that also means that if he can two-shot waves, it means that he is on the map, off the map real fast. It means that cores don't have to show to sweep waves. Then, of course, after he gets that Blink Dagger, you have this reliable initiation with a ton of burst damage on top. And if the Tiny has been doing well, which he usually has, that burst damage might just be enough to pick off other supports one-on-one, as we saw with poor SVG in the previous game.
Oh, poor SVG.
So across all the regions, Tiny is the most played hero. 49.45% win percentage. So, essentially 50%. It is very even. That's not surprising to see with the most picked hero. 91 matches played. The next highest is Darkseer at 79. So there is a good gap there even between the first and the second most played. As I do pull up these stats, there are a couple of interesting ones that do stand out to me. Grimstroke is a top 10 picked hero at 62 matches, yet has a 32% win percentage.
Yeah.
So that's telling. I've noticed that trend. We have been seeing less Grimstroke as the event's gone on. So it does feel like people or teams have been kind of realizing almost that the nerfs maybe hit him a bit harder than expected. Thus,
yeah, his function is still the same, but he's a lot less punchy now.
Yeah,
a lot less of that one-man force.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting. Tusk is down there as well, 39% win percentage, so he's fallen off a bit.
I imagine Juggernaut is up there with the most picked?
Juggernaut's third most picked, 78 matches, so yep, correct, 51% win percentage. So
well, he got
draft.
Banned right there. Tusk also getting banned.
Yeah, Juggernaut's been banned all 3 games now. I think, especially with the Lich value, Lich and the Juggernaut, again, they just don't want to have to deal with that. And yeah, one of the, if not the strongest core right now.
Yeah, the Darkseer ban as well. It's interesting with Darkseer because either we've been seeing him get picked up or he's just immediately banned. Nobody wants to deal with him because he's got that very strong laning presence. The fact that, you know, he can throw out the Ion Shell and then just go cut the wave, drag it over to a camp and just get maximum efficiency. And there's not much that people can do because of that surge.
It's not even strong laning presence in that sense. It's more just annoying laning presence or even anti-laning presence. He doesn't have to lane if he doesn't want to.
That's true.
Nobody's going to make him.
That's true.
And then especially if you pair him up with a Tiny or an Elder Titan, something extremely tanky. You know who I'm surprised we're not seeing anymore? Slardar.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we're not seeing much Slardar.
Where's the Fishman?
I don't know.
Well, especially with Lifestealer, you know, Lifestealer Slardar combination is very strong.
Well, it's a classic.
Yeah, classic indeed. So I don't know. To answer your question, I mean, Corrosive Haze, great tool. And honestly, the changes to the hero, initially, again, it was a little funky to read, and is this going to be better? But because the Crush no longer being the 2+ second stun or whatever it used to be, now it's just a 1 second stun, but it's like a 6 second slow on top of that. And then, yeah, you queue up your bash procs now with the right click. So a core slaughter especially is something that is potentially relevant, but there's the Lich into the Earth Spirit. This is a crit Earth Spirit. Goes without saying. He is pretty good.
I will take the pig
with this hero.
Thank you.
I will have a pig pile here.
Nice.
A little piggy pretty.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, I feel like every time we go live, there's 1 or 2 more pigs around us.
I like it. They're
somebody's sneaking in pigs.
It's about to say, just production slowly driving us crazy.
Yeah. We're gonna come, there's going to be so many pigs literally like covering us. Yeah, like,
yeah, that's the end of the production. Actually, there's just a whole netting up here with pigs that's going to fall on us.
Wait a second. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this fine gentleman.
Yeah. Just get picked up, though.
Yeah, for bad reasons, though. So,
bad reasons. Ooh.
Well, I mean, again, what was it, like 32% win percentage as a top 10 played hero? And this isn't a small sample size necessarily. We're talking about it was like 60, 70 match, or in total, something like 120 matches. So, well, actually, no, way more than that. But
I'm guessing that in this case, it's partially a block pick. Like, just not giving it forward. So forward gets the Tiny.
That's over here, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's baffling to me. It's baffling that it's a second pick, too. Like,
I agree. Tiny's
so good.
It's like we just had that conversation. I mean, this hero's ridiculous right now, and allowing them to get the Tiny and picking Grimstroke for yourself just does not seem like a winning combo.
I mean, Grimstroke Lich is a winning combo, though, so it's
true.
Pick your poison in this case.
There.
True.
Although, let's be honest, we're going to see an aggressive trial line at this point.
I still think the Tiny is definitely more threatening, though, even when you have that Lich Grimstroke combo. Just because he can be such a threat on the map early, especially if he starts, you know, escalating very quickly. The fact that you don't know where Tiny's lurking, and you have to be so careful, especially if you're a support, right? You know, it puts a lot of pressure on the map, and you want to make sure you have vision, that you're sticking nearby the people that are important. I don't think it was worth it for them if, indeed, the Grimstroke was a bit of a denial pick.
Not a lot of supports that can solo other supports. So, Bad Rider out from EG, Arc Warden out from Forward Gaming. They do not want to have to deal with that again. But now is the question, are we going to see a Luna ban, for example?
10 seconds remaining.
If we are going to tri-lane again, Luna is, of course, the tri-lane hero.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. This is a meta right now. That's where it's shifting, at least it feels like, as we're developing, that tri versus tri-lane is very real. And you want to make sure to have a core that can combat in said tri-lane, so.
Well, the other thing that I'm not seeing here yet is any... Well, I guess there have been an Enigma ban and a Magnus ban, so there has been... And Darkseer. Yeah, never mind, actually. A lot of these solo lane heroes have been getting banned out as well. So it is going to be relatively harder, or there's going to be some form of weird matchup, I think, on the lane that's going to be left solo at this point.
Doom is still there.
Yeah.
Usually it's been more of the answer to Darkseer that people have been running, but Doom himself is still a very strong hero, and maybe potentially want a better Doom target if they are going to go that hero. But
well, if you get a Doom, then especially if you're on the side of Evil Geniuses, right, you get the double Doom.
Oh,
with the Grimstroke. Like, the synergy is incredible. And then also you have to keep in mind the Scorched Earth makes you quite swift. And then you've got Inkswell on top of you. You can just kind of really mess with the lane if they decide to lane it that way. Not necessarily, you know, usually you would see, especially Evil Genius, they've been running kind of like the tri-lanes situation coming out there. But it's a very powerful lane, otherwise, if you pair it.
Terrorblade ban. I'm thinking that forwards inching towards that Luna. But yeah, you know, if we get that Doom out, we saw I believe it was J-Storm pick the Necrophos into Doom, and he out-sustained the enemy Doom, and then completely like zoned him out of the game later. It was not that Doom couldn't get his farm up at all, and that ended in a very smooth ride for J-Storm towards victory at that point. Void out, so no Lich Tiny Void tri-lane there. And now you get to see...
When two good teams are going at it like this, it's so fun to kind of see the drafts. I'm sure you can appreciate this, especially Kips. The drafts develop from game to game in a 3-game series now.
Yes.
Just from the bans and the answers that each team has to one another. And
yeah, every series has its own meta, really.
Yeah.
Like, and you're going to get, especially for inexperienced drafters, you get, for example, at the end of a 3-game series like this, you get that they forget certain heroes because they're too caught up in the matchup, and they forget that in the meta itself, Lifestealer hadn't been touched yet at all. I don't think that has been forgotten in this case, actually.
Yeah.
But
just happened to not be here in this series so far.
I think it's funny, too, that you mentioned that, Kips. I think you and I have actually had a conversation in other, just not even in this sort of setting, where we're discussing about different types of drafts and also how certain teams will draft specifically, like it's not the meta necessarily, but they'll draft against those teams because they know what they like, what they want to do, and they get inside each other's minds to kind of try to adjust that way, which I always found very, very interesting. And then in this case, you know, with Forward and Evil Geniuses, again, we talked about these guys probably scrim each other quite a bit, so they know each other quite well. They know what patterns that they like to do. And so that might affect the way that they're drafting as well.
Going to affect it a lot, for sure.
Yeah, rather than just going straight up meta half the time. Obviously, you know, these guys are going to follow the meta. They're professional players. That's part of their job. They need to know. But the way that they play might be a little bit different depending on which team that they're facing.
And Forward really thinking about this pickup here now. They know which carry they're playing into. I'm still thinking that they're considering the Luna here, but they're also considering that EG has already thought about this possibility. So a lot of it is about the follow-up now as well.
Evil Geniuses
and they go Omni Knights as something.
Okay. Here we go again. Again, I love seeing it. And the fact that Forward Gaming is picking it up, I think, is even more telling that this hero actually has capability with a major spot on the line. But we have, at least from what we've witnessed so far, it hasn't, in the earlier match specifically, it didn't contribute enough. But again, that was a completely one-sided game, and it wasn't his fault, and blah, blah, blah. Now, when you do pick up the Omni Knight, go back to, you usually want to pair him with some bit of strength core. So like a Chaos Knight potentially comes to mind, and we saw it again in that earlier.
That's a great tri-lane there as well.
Yeah.
And CK is pretty decent matchup into Lifestealer as well. Like, of course, with Lifestealer against normal strength cores, you have this matchup where you steal extra life, do extra damage, etc. But There's a Doom.
There's a double Doom.
The double Doom.
I was thinking maybe Brewmaster, because again, with the Omni Knight matchup, but they do go Doom, and yeah, I think if anything, because of the Grimstroke synergy.
Well, that's an easy way to make sure that this Omni Knight doesn't, it doesn't matter,
exactly.
right? If he's doomed, he can't do anything.
You could argue that's better then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you really are getting good at that,
a
Kip.
little bit. I switched to my right hand, and it's made a world of difference.
5
Interesting.
seconds remaining.
So Doom over there. Yeah, and again, here, let me just do this now, because again, this is just what we're seeing now.
You sound bored already.
No. No, it's more of a accepting the trial lane meta. Which is great, of course. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
It's got to make mid players super happy again, just to have the classic 1v1 instead of having, you know.
Well, the offlaners, if anything, too, and I don't have to worry about that.
Phantom Assassin,
Phantom
Lich, Tiny.
Assassin.
Okay. That's a classic.
A very active team
this
coming
point.
up in the setup 4, because I think that was one of the issues when we did see the Omni Knight earlier, correct? Like, I believe it was started from the bottom, drafted it for Versatile, and while he did quite well in his lane, again, it was a little bit of that
They had
gentleman's
the
agreement.
clinks, but again, he had a really bad start.
Yeah, they never got the chance to be accelerating. So this might make it a bit
5
easier having a very
seconds
active
remaining.
sort of core, very active guessing position 4, and the 5 that can kind of do roaming. Because that's a big deal about Lich having his spells reworked now, is the fact that this is now a hero that can effectively gank if they want, or just, you know, start moving around a lot earlier because you have that lockdown. You've got the slow, and then, of course, you've got the frost shield.
I mean, PA's always been a great pairing with Omni Knight in general, too. No matter.
But I don't think they're going to be in the
even
same lane
before.
together.
No, not in the same lane, of course
That
not.
used to be the classic lane,
well,
right?
I guess that could have been a lane, way back
A long
in the day.
time
but
ago,
yeah.
back in the
But no,
old days.
just throughout the game now, it's not that strength core as I was bringing up earlier. But again, the thing with how this Heavenly Grace works now, just because it's not a strength core doesn't mean they won't benefit from it outright. You know, it still is strength, and they'll get that life pool increase. So, as well as the regen. And I go back to the status resistance. That's something not to overlook either. It's a stat that isn't as much in the game anymore,
5
but you know, things like
seconds
Satanic and now with this ability.
Pretty glad it's not as much in the game anymore.
Of course, yeah, and there's a reason for that. Well, with Omni Knight it is. So they both banned as an OD and a DK ban. And that was a Lich first pick, right? So yeah, it's going to be EG final pick.
They did take out one strength core then in the form of the DK.
Yeah.
Which I would have really liked that pick as well to round out forwards draft. It's a solid mid laner, can't really easily, you know, counter pick it. And it's this tower
5
siege that they,
seconds
because they declined to go with the Luna, really don't have right now. Tower damage, disable, good synergy with the Omni Knight. Would have been a great pick.
You know, Timbersaw's, I don't know why Timbersaw's kind of, okay.
Go for the Ursa again. Just to zoom in on Ricky's face.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That was a great reaction there, I know. That was my bit of a dumbfounded face because, or how far are we going to go with this, you know? Just going to keep going? Okay.
Look at those eyes. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful eyes, thank you.
10 seconds remaining.
Anywho, Ursa, yeah, that's it's not the Arc Warden bubble, so they're not going for that reason. Did have that issue last game, but I don't think they're planning to trial in it this time, obviously. Instead, this is going to be a mid Ursa, more than likely. Unless it's a support Ursa with a tiny core.
Can still do that.
That's possible.
Can still run the PA mid as well. She's not amazing, but also, you know, can always farm with the daggers. Will always appreciate those levels.
Is this where we flip the board because everything's gotten all willy-nilly, tabletop sim style?
I really did my best on, you know, arranging
You
this
did.
nice.
It is beautiful.
Thank you.
No, Ursa, by the way, yeah.
Yeah.
So might as well put that here out.
He's still processing that on his brain after all the... And a Queen of Pain. Ooh.
So not a lot of lockdown on forward gaming, really only in their supports. Magic burst damage against this Phantom Assassin and Ursa, who maybe thought, you know, we can skip out on our BKBs a little bit because we get an Omni Knight. And an incredible vehicle for the Life Stealer as well. I was thinking about the Earth Spirit before. He's, you know, decent, rolling in, stunning, boom, Life Stealer in your face, but the Queen of Pain is also very good at that.
Squap on this side.
I'm trying to determine, it should be...
No,
she's
all
up
the way
there
up
with the
there.
Pango.
Is she? Oh, she's back.
Right
behind
there
Pango.
she is. Okay. Does this potentially change a matchup now for forward? Because I would assume Ursa into a Quap doesn't sound fun.
No, it is not fun at all.
Especially a Sumail Quap.
But is Tiny much better?
So awesome. I'm really
Tiny like so what? It'd be Tiny then.
Yeah, Tiny is.
You think Tiny
better,
would?
though.
Okay.
Like in like as long as he has the tree, the Quap still needs to like keep her distance, and he is going to get last hits and not be because of the range as well. Not going to be as bothered by the slow.
All right, it's prediction time though.
Oof.
So I'm full in on EG right now. I'm full in. I see a Quap. I know Sumail. I want to see this happen. I'm on the hype train for this actually. So
yes,
based on that alone, I'm going EG.
Well, yeah, you're definitely not alone in that. I enjoy that Quap pick. It's really good. I also think that the Lich Bros PA lane has been sort of played out by now. People know what to do against it. It's going to be most likely an Ursa support. Either that or an Omni Knight support. Could do that as well or under Ursa. But I'm not feeling it.
All right, so we got another EG.
Got another EG.
Another EG. What about you, Mr. Breaky?
You
riding that Omni Knight train?
See, I'm trying to figure that I like Omni Knight, but he is against a Doom, he is against a Phantom's Embrace, a Grimstroke, against Earth Spirit Silence. Like, there's a lot of ways to deal with him in fights. I'm gonna say Forward Gaming.
All right.
Omni Knight.
You know what? I appreciate the fact that you're sticking to that conviction that you're gonna see this Omni Knight.
Just make it work, please.
All right.
Do it.
So we got a nice split here. Let's see who's going to be going to the major.
This is it, yeah. That's, again, loser still has a chance, but winner is going. Absolutely.
All right, so it is Universe who will be playing the Omni Knight here.
And who's on Ursa? Yawar's on Ursa.
So it's going to be position 4, and it's going to be...
okay.
Or sorry, not position 4. Oh my
no,
gosh.
it's going to be mid, but it's just... Well, they could swap things, but if they... At this point, it would probably... I think they're committing. What are they doing? I don't know.
I don't know about
this. I'm guessing and just wait. Okay, so PA will be mid. Okay.
Still a core Ursa, not on an aggressive tri lane this time though. He is just on his own safe lane.
I was thinking Yapster. That's when my brain went sideways for half a second there. Good grief. All right.
S4 on the Doom, going to be. Actually playing into the tri lane so far, I think, here. And a defensive tri lane on the other side. So yeah, no try versus try. For the first game, what feels like ages. And yeah, you know, if you're a solo offlaner against this Ursa, that is no fun.
No, for sure. Especially because now he's got that movement.
And SVG is going to be helping out mid, yeah. So they readjusted the lanes, you know. Sumail's gonna win that matchup no matter what, and they don't need.
Thanks to the help, I guess? Question mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't need that Lich on bottom per se.
Right. Luckily, Doom fairly speedy, but what is the actual matchup between these guys here for?
Well, Doom can't really come close to the creep wave, especially as...
Yes, no, I'm just saying, like, in case he gets thrown back, I still think it's a very, very scary situation.
I mean, Doom is tanky.
He's tanky, he's pretty fast when he's got Scorched Earth up, but...
It might be better for him to be tossed at a tower than to be tossed at an Ursa.
Yes, no, agree. Agree on that. So lots of harass though coming out over here on Universe. It is a, you know, a Grimstroke. He actually opted to go for the Inkswell level 1, but they did rotate someone in to help Sumail with this mid lane. So we were talking about how, you know, mid laner is going to be really happy that they're back to 1v1. This is clearly the caster's curse here.
Yeah, sorry about that, Sumail. I mean, perhaps he appreciates the a little bit of difference. Hit back into tower, but yeah, that's a PA.
If that was a Lich, that would. Oh wow, Sumail's sitting super low.
This is a crazy lane, man. They're just duking it out. I think it really is respect though to how good that final pick was by EG, and that the fact that they're kind of really switching just how the meta is played right now to help deal with it of sending 2 heroes mid and forcing even the Earth Spirit to make their rotation. So, but yeah, they were really worried about that Quap. All their lanes didn't make a lot of sense. So this is the best way to go about it. Omni Knight, he's fine. Just gonna pull lane. And yeah, I was noticing the build that we saw earlier, even though the losing effort. But Omni Knight passing up Purification altogether. pulling up the Heavenly Grace and the Degen Aura, it kind of makes sense because the Heavenly Grace is already doing so much regen. You don't necessarily need that burst heal to harass, I guess, or at least you don't have to have it. Obviously, it'd be nice to have, but you're getting that regen. It's just so much better value, I would assume, as far as the numbers go, as far as mana cost.
There's a super sneaky Tiny over here in this mid lane. Again, if they grab either one of these cores for the most part, they're going to be able to either blink out unless they go very aggressive, or of course with crit can try to roll himself away. But again, have to watch out for those body blocks. It's just going to be a casual stroll through mid though for the Tiny. Not going to be able to create any more chaos than what's already being created here.
Arteezy on the Lifestealer though, he is 17 and 12, 18 and 12 now. So talk about just essentially free farm. Omni Knight is dealing in a 1v2 from the looks of it. Makes a bit more sense. In fact, he himself was only 5 and 2. We saw him pulling the creep wave. Not the most ideal start. We're on the other side, Doom. That's doing a lot better. In fact, he's going to be tossed in.
Right back to Mr. Bear. This is looking like a dead S4. First blood.
I'm thinking that maybe he thought there was enough range, but Toss has such a huge reach.
I'm worried about up here, right? Because we've talked about the Omni Knight. The issue with him is that he's not really able to harass. He can sustain, he can stay in the lane, but especially against a Lifestealer, right? There's not too much they can do otherwise than... Oh, Haste picked up over here on Samael. He's going to try to chase after SVG. Might have these eyes on the PA, but needs to be careful again. They do have plenty of lockdown. Avalanche going to connect, though, over on mid, and the toss back right to the PA. That's going to be a dead crit.
They're using the long distance tosses, especially. But yeah, Omni Knight, we are seeing a kind of difference here where some heroes may be able to sustain a bit better in a 1v2, like the Tidehunter, for example, but not the case with the Omni Knight. And he's going to have to find himself, I don't know, if he goes to a jungle. He did get Purification, I noticed, at level 2, and I don't know if that is adapting to how this is going, and maybe he figures he might need to start jungling soon. And of course will help, but he's just going to keep pulling the creep wave for now.
If you go Heavenly Grace as well, you're not trading, whereas with Purification, obviously, with the damage you actually are. So this is also something that's going to make him a little bit more combative in the lane.
So much more.
I just feel like lately we've been seeing so many of these offlaners just going for the pull, trying to catch them up with like another creep camp for the maximum efficiency. It just feels like the offlaner doesn't really play a lane anymore in some senses.
So that 1v1.
Oh boy, all right. So S4 is just going to casually walk past the tower, walk past the creep, and he's going to get chased down by UR.
Yeah, as I said before, really less afraid of that tower than he is of that big fuzzy bear.
You don't want to feed an Ursa. Guy gets very, it's like, well, you said it, Kips, earlier. You said, you know, once this bear gets going, it's very hard to get him to stop. Mel, taking a lot of harass here in the mid lane. This Lich being added in, I think, has been very, very value.
Really good adjustment. And they paid for that, obviously, with the farm of their Omni Knight. If they have a Lich on another lane, perhaps they're able to force rotations or they're able to protect that Omni. But you gotta give some, you gotta take some. In this case, having this Ursa and PA up on the net worth charts is a lot better than having this poor universe up there.
It's a 6-minute Midas also on the Lifestealer.
I don't think it went boots. Yeah, he literally just going right into Midas, or did he get the boots?
He's got boots.
Okay, so I guess he did go to
This is
boots
a baller
first,
Lifestealer, man.
No, he is...
You think those delicate toes are going to be touching the ground here? Come on now.
Have you seen his toes?
They're disgusting. Even more reason.
Would he really mind?
He needs boots. Do you have a smoke over here in the mid lane, though? Yeah, he's all bloody and stuff with his feet. There's a roll in. He's got the Frost Shield up over here onto Resolution. He's going to try to run himself away. Maybe try to get a juke. We'll be able to find that kill, but we'll find the kill on crit as well.
Nice one. And that moment where I said Sumil, it's like a split second later I realized, oh, he's going a little bit too far forward, see if he can draw anyone back, and then the first bird gets her all in. So they were waiting for that smoke. It's still a really, very nice pickoff.
Ursa does respond with a Midas of his own, a little bit later on, about 30 seconds or so, but he too is farming very well at the bottom lane. I'm also noticing that it denies. You got 23 on Lifestealer, you have 12 on Quap, so 35 combined already in this game from Evil Geniuses.
That's a lot of gold missing for forward.
Yeah. PA does have the Ring of Hell, so we're gonna see the Battle Fury build likely this game.
And in a tri-lane game, sometimes with his first catapult wave, you would already see movements for towers, but in this case, I don't think that's going to be happening. Everyone's just busy farming. This is only going to add a little bit of difficulty to the proper last hitting for most of these carries, and not actually be a goal in and of itself.
Pretty calm otherwise, though, right now. Do you see some movement going down to this bottom area? Tiny, of course, over in that camp. Smil just really, they put so much pressure on him. They actually blink forward very aggressively. And Smil gonna have to blink himself out.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Rune secured by crit.
It's a lot of blink, actually, in the mid lane when you think about it, right? You got blink strike, and then you've got the actual blink over on the quap.
Yeah, it's a mind game of using the cooldown. I believe blink strike is definitely the shorter cooldown in that matchup, but so it's quap the one that needs to be extra careful. Yeah, only an 11-second
right.
compared to 15. There you go. Scriff is awesome.
Confirmed.
I was gonna say, you guys agree and react to that. We'll talk later.
Don't let him hear that.
Don't worry, we'll talk later.
I thought we talked about this break. You never give him 5 stars, only 4.5.
4.5. Hey, I didn't say 5. 4.5. He's 4.5 awesome.
All right.
Phase boots there.
We got a Doom online. We don't have the Grimstroke ultimate up just yet, but
They're being spotted. No, what I was gonna say is that we saw like 30 seconds difference between the Midas pickups, right? We also saw a 30-second difference between the phase boots pickups on both characters.
Yeah.
All right, Avalanche coming through over here on Grimstroke. I don't think they want a hard commit on this right now, though.
And yeah, you see the very small gap really in net worth too. It's about 150 or so. Between that, we're closer to 200, but
Fly might be in a little. Oh, I like this. I like how he's got crit. Being the bodyguard, gonna be able to go throughout the Inkswell. Oh, the toss though coming out. Yuar finds himself a tasty morsel in that Grimstroke.
Crit just uses every bit of this hero. The kickback on Grimstroke, and he died in the end, but forcing the reaction out of forward and the better play in a sense with the toss, but sure, but almost keeping Grimstroke alive because of that. We're going to see more of that, I'm sure, throughout the game. He is going Radiance on a Lifestealer, it looks like, by the way. 1,000 gold saved up. Radiance queued up.
He's going to run phase first here into the Tiny. He's going to try to put out some damage chase after this Omni-Knight, just a little bit. Doesn't seem too concerned, though. In the bottom lane, they've got their eyes on the snuggly little bear. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to quite catch him. They did use the Doom on him. There's going to be Sonic Wave, not going to be enough damage. They had that Purification, and I'm thinking that he's pretty glad he picked up that point.
Yep, that saved him. And what level is it? It's level 3, in fact. Yeah, so
that would have been a...
That's the difference maker. If I'm not mistaken, Heavenly Grace should be able to also dispel the Shadow Poison of Quap on top of that, amongst a couple other things, so added value there.
Here's the kickback coming out again. We talk about crit using every part of this hero. But Lifestealer, of course, casually just walking off and whacking away at that bear just a little bit. Says, get off of my crit.
Yeah, strong dispel
You're
there.
not welcome here.
I actually thought it was a basic dispel. Even a strong one.
MSS setting up for mid lane.
The TP's coming in from the Doom. Fly sitting pretty far back here. Still not quite got that ultimate yet. There's the blink forward again coming out from Rezo. Follow up with a nice avalanche, and they've got them all silenced up though thanks to that Phantom Strike. Rezo's still not ready to give up. That's a big dagger crit coming through. Now S4 force back just a little bit, toss up into the air. They're going to try to take down crit. He's still alive. They will find that kill though. And now in comes Arteezy. They've got their eyes over here on this Omni-Knight. He's got the Heavenly Grace up, and they're trying to just chip him down. He's regenerating pretty fast, but not going to be fast enough. While the rest of the team now going to walk themselves away. No mana left on Doom, and Arteezy just wants to go back to hitting these creeps, I think.
But this does allow them to keep their middle tower, which is the most important part of the investment.
Snill's found a MSS here over on the side here.
Yes, and he is relatively unthreatened in this lane. Apart from the Tiny, there's not much that can kill him. So he's going to be the one keeping the pressure up on his bottom lane. Something that he has a lot of experience with actually since that time that he played offlane. Where normally you would see an offlaner playing around here, but obviously the Doom right now is... he can get killed by a lot of these heroes. So you'd rather put him as a tank on this tower, have Fly sit behind him as I did before. He's connecting with Smil now though.
Arcane Rune, that's always a great rune to have on a quap. It's going to have the Sonic Wave up at about 7 seconds. And I think it's safe to assume that we're going to see some movement coming out from them. Would like to see, I want to see this Grimstroke pick up his 6. I want to see him. It's very, very close to it. I think that'd be a big deal in a lot of these fights, being able to have that double doom among other spells that can get divvied up.
I'm trying to think now. I guess double doom really is the big thing, but I suppose open wounds as well from Lifestealer is...
Double dagger.
Double dagger.
That's about it before the hex is...
the sheepening, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
Maxi loves the sheepening. Though, in all fairness, like we've heard that there's a petition going on, right, to make it into pigs.
Right, all pigs, all pigs.
So it should be the
all
piggening.
the hex, the piggy,
All the piggening.
That doesn't sound as good.
Porkening?
Nope, that sounds inappropriate. Oh no!
I would never.
Woo, keep it PG here, Kips.
I'm just an innocent
Bottom
mind.
line.
It's a
There's
daily
the-
struggle, okay?
Jump in, coming here from Sumail. They're gonna try to chase down this Tiny. We'll be able to find the kill. And the top lane, a little bit of skirmish going on. This is a big old bear, but he's running away right now.
Yeah, he's got his blink now, though.
Very mobile, right?
Of course, in that Lifestealer matchup.
Fast smoke? Oh, if forward, I'm not sure if you're going to see this one coming. Although, I'm not sure if they make it up the high ground fast enough, because there's another counter smoke.
Oh,
and
from
then
the
it'll
low
be spotted
ground. They know. They immediately turn around. The bear's going to jump forward. Has that frost shield. His dagger's coming
Big
through.
crit.
Grim trying to run himself out. Grimstroke will get taken down. Does get the soulbind up, but they don't have anything to follow it up right now. There is no doom with them. And Sumail also going to have to flee. Your war's not quite done yet. Says, come back here, brother. Give me a big ol' hug. But Sumail goes,
One more.
uses that.
Body block?
Find it.
Yes.
There it is.
538 gold for the top farm already on the Radiant side.
Very unfortunate for EG that forward had the exact same, quick, let's smoke. They won't expect it now in a moment.
Jeez. That was a spike right there. Easy tower kill. Yeah, again, throwing up that Heavenly Grace up onto the Ursa as he jumped in right there. Just especially that regen, let alone the strength gain on top of that. He felt unstoppable. All they could do was just try to run. And couldn't even do that, unfortunately.
And now we have a pretty interesting moment where, you know, Lifestealer's farming up. He's holding pace with this Ursa. But this Ursa is actually not even the real carry for forward gaming. That's going to be the Phantom Assassin later on. And she's working towards the Battle Fury. So right now, the highest hero on the board for forward is the one creating the space, while the highest hero on the board for EG is the one that the space is being created for. And that could give forward the upper hand in the next couple of minutes. The only problem that they have, of course, is that Mr. Universe on bot lane here is not quite as farmed as he would like to be.
Look at this bear. He's hungry. He's hoping that maybe someone was going to be standing nearby that camp.
Yummy, yummy, get in my tummy.
That's only for tangos.
No?
Only for
I think-
tangos.
You think that Ursa just, you know, hits people and then leaves them there? I think he'd eat them. Like, he seems like an eco-friendly
Yeah, it
kind
makes
of bear.
sense.
Eco-friendly bear.
Let's see that.
Oh, we are in Sweden. Everything is pretty eco-friendly. I think even my toothbrush is like a special type of eco-friendly.
I
Brush
love
your
Sweden.
teeth and eat it after.
Oh, God.
That'd be weird.
That would be very weird. Yikes.
To be fair, you do have to eat after brushing your teeth instead of brushing your teeth after you eat.
Or you just eat it to brush your teeth.
That's how they
That's
do
what
it for
dogs have,
yes.
yeah. Why don't humans do this?
That would be nice, like having your last late night snack and your teeth are getting clean. Why aren't we funding this?
Yeah,
Because I don't think it works that way for humans, but
it should.
I'm gonna go back to school and figure this out.
Kips is going to be a millionaire.
Omni Knight, yeah, may not be getting the most farm, but again, he's here to complement his cores, both the Ursa and especially the Phantom Assassin throughout this game. So, of course, you like auras on him, etc. I think he was building a drum, so what I saw there, yeah.
It's interesting, too. He's opted to go a totally different build than what we saw earlier, right? Where it was the full, the Heavenly Grace and the Degen Aura.
Yeah,
He
I
actually
mentioned
has no points in the Degen Aura at all. He went very aggressive and also, you know, being able to keep his cores alive, aside from just the Heavenly Grace.
I think it's just more of how this game is. He was already in an unfavorable matchup, so he wanted to already prepare for the inevitable, him being underfarmed.
Right.
I might as well still be useful.
Yeah, Radiant's picked up now over on the Lifestealer. Smoke going to come out over here as well, so they're looking for some sort of engagement. And I think this time they might be able to go, if they find multiple targets, of course, and really maximize on that double doom. But right now, again, just the Tiny. Do you see rotation coming out from Omni Knight And they've got a life stealer
Dire's
bomb
bottom tower
in
is under
the crit
attack.
car.
Tiny's spidey senses gotta be tingling.
Has to be, but I don't think it was quite fast enough because out pops life stealer. The toss back doesn't really matter. That avalanche, though, going to be able to land onto 2 different people. But it seems like they're pretty happy with that as the Doom starts combing through the jungle, seeing if he can Grimstroke and find anything else.
Yeah, and as you say, I imagine that Fly and the Doom are going to be pretty much holding hands throughout most of this mid-game phase, just because you really want to get that combination out.
Is that another arcane rune on the squad?
Yeah.
Got an ace rune too. This is like the perfect storm for her. She's gonna be zipping around, murdering everybody. Picks up the Yules as well, so we'll have a way to set up, or in some cases, get away if necessary.
So next goal is this mid tower. Usually you assault that from the side. You can see EG setting up for that. Gonna try to get the ward behind the tower as well. I do feel that one's starting to get a little bit predictable. How often have we seen this ward placed into a sentry before? I feel like it's been pretty much every single game.
Yeah, another one right there.
If Radiant is on the bot lane, or sorry, if Dire is on the bot lane, Radiant can go into Roche. And they can't slip past that Radiant mid tower either. Like EG Crit just did that.
No boy, there's
was
jump
seen-
forward. Kick back and the avalanche coming through. Doom coming forward. We'll just casually devour sweep. They're trying to get that stroke of fade out. Not going to be able to find it just yet. Doom going just a little bit too fast for Grimstroke here to catch up. And they have a Rezo in their jungle though, who's
with
going to
a
be-
Battle Fury.
Yes. Also got Radiant's Life Stealer, Battle Fury PA,
And
and
as-
Midas too actually on the
on the life
Stealer
stealer,
too.
yeah. He
That
is
one's
going to be
farmed.
accelerating super fast. But then once he hits that, how do you say, the critical point, critical limit, he's got to really punch through, because otherwise he's not going to be able to fight into both of these cores.
right.
And
Blink on Tiny almost there.
they've been prioritizing his farm over poor Universe as well.
Going the BKB. Bit of a damage stopper and also an anti-kite, of course. And, you know, from the Earth Spirit to the Quap, etc., it's a pretty necessary item to have. But that with the Heavenly Grace and his Enrage, this is going to be a free roam in Ursa throughout this game. Of course, the Heavenly Grace will ideally, especially because of that, be saved more for the PA, I'm sure. But
Just like in the previous 2 games, we see really clustered just teams sitting around this Roshan area. Both of them know it's about time to take it, and neither of them are going to let it go easily.
that's a great rune to get, by the way, for a Radiant's Life Stealer. Picks up the illusion. It's going to send them out. Yeah, and he's going to come to the bottom lane with one and push that out.
With the other.
Those are the bears now. Tower's going down pretty quickly though over here in the mid lane, despite having that frost shield. It's going to go down. It looks like they're going to keep going. Yeah, look at this. They don't seem like they're too worried. Rest of the team postured around.
No sorceries avail.
At the very least, you want to have that creep wave in before walking back, just so that you have that little bit of extra time on the retreat. And also no use just leaving farm sitting around on the map like that. That's inefficient, man.
It's all about efficiency, and that's all about a dead Grimstroke right there. Doom gonna be able to just turn back around. He throws out that hit, but we do have, I hear Doom coming out. We're over here, SVG trying to run himself away, and Crit gonna have to roll on out as well. Rezo looking from the high ground kind of longingly. That Doom not doing too much right now. Just kind of sitting on the Omni Knight, and Arteezy trying to run out. Gonna have to go hop in the S4 car if he can get away fast enough. I don't know. We'll pop back out. There's it is. There's the Guardian Angel. They'll be able to take down Life Stealer here, and they'll be able to find a kill on Crit.
Guardian Angel really awkward because it actually doesn't do a whole lot right there. It's just some majority magic damage that's coming out, but either way, still helps them retreat. But we're not even done. They don't want to give this up, but maybe they should have. Grimstroke gets jumped right there. He's dead again. Now, they are delaying, and I think that's the ultimate goal. Tiny, Inferno Blade, he might end up
he's gonna
dying.
get taken down.
And it will stall them. We saw this in the first game, too. Remember, EG took somewhat of an unfavorable fight at Roshan, but it kind of made sense in the long run in that they stalled them quite a bit now. Still was a victory for Forward in that game, but EG seems to not be afraid to do that, I guess.
Yes. I think that Sumail jumped in kind of too hastily in that fight. It's unlucky that he gets bashed, but at the same time, it has been known that a basher was up on the Ursa for quite some time now. So just the Yules alone was not really enough to protect him. That's also why I think he's going into a Shivas next.
Roll forward down on the bottom lane, gonna silence up the PA and try to burst her down before she can get out, but she does manage to blink, but the Sonic Wave, you can't dodge that. Now, they're running in, chasing after S4. We'll get the Purification and also the Frost Shield. Go use the Yules over here, turn back around, try to slow him down just a little bit with that. They're gonna be able to pull Sumail back in, and they get a couple bounces of this Chain Frost. Looks like he's gonna be out. Oh, but then the Tiny jumping in, he finds Sumail, he takes him down. They're still trying to go and grab Crit over here. Doom's still alive and kicking, but gonna try to run in there with Arteezy. You are trying to run open. They're gonna be able to go use those open wounds. Arteezy chasing right into the base. Needs to be a little bit careful because this Tiny is just creating chaos in the back lines here. Silence coming out with the Phantom's Embrace. They'll be able to have the Frost Shield on him as well. The roll coming forward. He's all stunned up. Just a little bit more damage. They'll find it. And look at that Stroke of Fate too. It does so much. They're gonna go ahead. They're gonna pop the vehicle. But now that they popped it, they need to be careful. The Omni Knight's actually gonna get taken down. You are now trying to run himself back into the base. Everyone is just chasing after him past these tier 1s. They will go and he'll find the kill over onto Crit. The Doom's coming out as then they get this kill onto Rezo. They find it. That's a double kill.
What a scrappy fight there.
Yeah.
You can see that S4 and Sumail are trying to drag time until their teammates arrive, but it takes so much time that Sumail dies, and Forward sees it as the cue to go in because it's close to them, they can TP in the supports, but instead they end up falling one by one. And very strange engagement once again for actually for both teams to be taking, because there is not really much of a prize to be getting there apart from maybe distracting people from Roche. Yuara finds a double damage rune.
It's the perfect rune.
Goes right in. Oh, that's brutal for EG. They tried so hard
to set this up for themselves.
Yeah. The pit, though.
He's not in time.
It's gonna be close.
Getting real close.
Oh, he's not in time.
No. A little bit too much waffling too, I think.
Isn't he just now?
All right, and a BKB. Ooh.
That is just a slap in the face.
Yeah, I mean, EG, it's so many moments like that. You consider how far they were diving, by the way. Tier 4s, essentially, almost to the fountain at some points. But, you know, a lot of those times we'll see the end result will be like face palming. But in that case, it actually worked for EG. And, yeah, you see right there, you know, but what objective are they ultimately going to be able to get out of it? Unfortunately, Roshan gets stolen from them because Ursa. And Universe is able to TP out from a Lifestealer. Happen to find him for that bounty rune, but... seeing glimpses right there. Phantom Assassin, okay, she has her own BKB now. I was going to say she still is a little bit behind. She's had that Battle Fury for a while and still hasn't accelerated as maybe they hoped for. But with a BKB, is going to feel better about possible fights. Picks up the 50% lifesteal talent on top of that.
Yeah, so double BKB on Forward now. Means a lot of negation of the silences and slows coming out of EG. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them gathering up for a smoke again here. They have that Aegis on the Ursa as well. This would be the perfect moment to...
Looks like they heard you, Kips, because they're all making their way over to Lich, who is holding on to that smoke. Doing a little bit of dewarding as well.
S4 making a timely escape. They're going to hold on to it for now.
And now goes back to the Abyssal Blade. That's a very important item, as usual, to have on Yawar. Ooh, close call there. Grabs the haste, though. But superior lockdown for this Lifestealer, if anything, too, and just being able to jump, but also the Queen of Pain. Guaranteed stun on her, of course, as he jumps in.
I've got that Assault Cuirass completed now.
Radiant's top
got
tower
the
is under attack.
Battle Fury BKB on the PA, working on the Deso as her next item.
Are fortified. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
I'm going to keep this push going because, again, they're the ones with the Aegis. So instead, EG going for the trade route.
Do you TP home to defend the tier 2, or do you just go home now? Or rather go into their base, I guess, is the question. Because they're still sticking around. They're going in.
Yeah, I think you actually trade better here as EG because you get in slightly faster, and this Lifestealer attacks so fast. So yeah, they definitely got the better trade here. I think if there's a Deso on the PA, you can't do that, but since there wasn't any yet, this is fine. And neither of these teams are really great at hitting buildings. Of course, AC as well on RTZ. Yeah, you definitely take that trade, actually. Completely forgot about that.
Almost expected to see a Chain Frost come out there. We'll see. Let's just do that sometimes. They're pushing in lanes.
I don't think you want to do that just in case right now. I think it's really important you hold it.
Yeah, his cores are geared up to fight. This is not the time to be throwing out.
It definitely feels like a calm before the storm sort of thing, like where the tension's just crackling in the air.
Yeah, well, I guess the Ursa might want to finish the... Never mind.
Never mind.
He's just going.
He's got a basher.
Yeah.
He's working on that Abyssal. It's going to be up soon.
And Ursa actually
what I'm
benefits
saying.
from an Arcane Rune too quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
All right. A little bit split here. It's a bit risky, too, going from this low ground, just in case anyone's up there. Not going to find anyone just yet, though.
Do ping out resolution, cleaning up the wave there.
They
Okay.
know. They know. Look at this, the way that they're all clustered up here. They don't want to be alone out in these woods.
Does anyone ever want to be alone out in the woods?
Yeah, hermits.
True, true. My bad.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, Crit immediately kicks back on the Ursa, says, no, thank you, sir. I will not have what you're selling. The rest of the team still just kind of, they're taking over the jungle, flexing their muscle a little bit. PI just finish up that Desolator.
And I think if you're EG, you want to get the jump. You need to get that double doom off by now. It's really important. And I also think that's important for the reason that you can't afford to lose Sumail to some bash again.
Mm-hmm. Have we seen a double doom yet? I don't think we have. I think the Grimstroke has been kaput before they've ever made it into the fight half the time. Or you just see the doom like really far forward. And
Yeah, I don't even know if we've seen a Soulbind.
we have.
We have seen
We've
Soulbind?
seen a couple of those, but just not the optimal soulbind with the doom.
And the doom went to Shivas instead. So what has the pop been building?
Got the Orchid finally.
And that, I guess that plate mail is just casual for now.
Radiant's bottom
Maybe a
tower
change
is
up there.
under
Yeah, they
attack.
might have talked it over and realized when it's too late, possibly, or it could still be something like a Lotus Orb, but don't know how much value that would be on the co-op this game.
The Shivas is an incredibly valuable item this game, though. Because well, both of the enemy carries are going to be attacking into you with heavy physical damage, and both of them really rely on their attack speed as well. So with the Shivas Aura Stone, that's going to be really nice.
So we do have the Abyssal Blade finished on Ursa. Got level
They are
20.
cutting in from the
Dire's
back
top
right
tower
now.
is under attack.
Jump.
Kick back. Rest of the team standing to blink forward. Tiny tossing right back again. Looks like Crit gonna be in some trouble, but over here on the other end, we do manage to get that Soulbind off. Immediately gonna follow up there with that Guardian Angel, and they're gonna try to run themselves back. They're doomed up over here on this Ursa Bear. It's gonna be forced back. Sonic Wave coming through, still giving a bit of chase here. Smail might be in a little bit of trouble, but does have the Yules. It's gonna try to run himself back. There's gonna be the Glare pulling forth again, and the jump forward coming out from Resolution as he's slicing through everyone over here, but he has to be careful because his Lifestealer is doing quite a bit of work. They actually managed to finally take down the PA. It's a triple kill right now for RTZ. He's still going after Uar. Uar, he's a hungry bear. He wants to add some more stacks onto his Lifestealer, but I'm not sure if he's going to find it. And immediately, they're going to have to hope that they can take him down, but they won't be able to find it. He's going to be able to TP out, but oh man, this Doom is not ready to give him up. Silence coming out. Smail sitting on the low ground, hoping that maybe he can get a jump in here. Yule's coming out again over onto this Omni Knight as he gets the buyback. RTZ's still alive, still ready to go into this base.
Crit managed to keep himself alive throughout that fight, came in afterwards with a really clutch silence. And oh yeah, there's a buyback.
He did buy back.
Yeah, I was about to say, how did he come back?
He lived a
Love
lot.
buybacks.
I mean, he lived a lot longer than he should have initially.
yeah,
it felt
for
like, but
AD just cracking into the space. You know, this bear was feeling really, really strong, but Arteezy's just proven to be much, much stronger right now.
well, a big part of that though too is not only the Radiant Burn, but yeah, the level 20, he got the 20% evasion, and we saw several misses coming into play between Ursa and Phantom Assassin, of course, and that hurts them quite a bit. So something like these MKBs, and you see right away, Ursa has his queued up on him. He's surprised a Phantom Assassin. He's also thinking of one of her own. She's going to go the Satanic route for now, actually, but. At least on Ursa, yeah, he could really use that MKB.
And I think one of the things that that's hurting forward here is that even though their Omni Knight can, of course, really heal up individual heroes right now, most offlaners would have had something like Guardian Greaves, or they would have had a
Crimson Guard, you know, things like that, yeah.
Heroes like that usually build up into those items, but he has been under front all game, and his team is now suffering for the fact that he can only really help one person at a time with these spells. And he doesn't have that mighty aura presence that you would usually see out of a Darkseer or something like that.
Yeah, and GA really isn't doing a lot this game either. It's that there's so much just intense magic damage throughout that when you pop GA, you're still very susceptible to dying. In fact, we saw earlier in that funky exchange that where he used it near the Roshan pit, and they were still losing a lot of life with the Magnetize up and the Infest Bomb coming out. So, yeah, that's another thing about that I'm picked up on as this game has progressed, that maybe the Omni Knight pickup not as strong this game as they would have hoped for. As Doom is up on PA, she is in trouble.
Still some misses coming out. There is some mail.
DD Quap following it up, and Phantom Assassin, no chance in the end. So great find for Doom right there. PA is out for 70 seconds, does have a buyback if need be, and Roshan's up soon in about 10 seconds or so. If they can pick up on that, maybe force a buyback.
EG is firmly in the driver's seat of this game right now. You can also see they've warded up this entire area. They're not about to let the creep wave go past, well, that half circle that was just drawn.
Radiant's top shrine has fallen.
Which should make for a very easy Roshan for them.
Especially when you've got that double damage too over on Smail. That's got to feel pretty good right now. But again, EG feeling really strong. They don't have that PA up and running. It's going to just make this super easy.
And the couple of Quaps I have happened to see recently, also I've noticed the level 20 talent that they've been picking up is what Smail just did right there, the AoE Shadow Strike. Over that 30% spell lifesteal. You know, for the longest time, it was about building that Mjolnir, getting the spell lifesteal, and just being like this crazy Quap tank almost. But not the thing anymore. Instead, it's based around that AoE Shadow Strike, which, again, hitting a lot of targets and added damage, ultimately, for...
I wonder why, Kips, do you know why they've shifted to that now?
Radiant's middle tower has
I'm not
fallen.
entirely sure, to be honest. I think that it's more about, you know, right now mid laners aren't really these, usually at least, the carries of the whole thing. And if you're going to be that tanky Quap, you're going to be the main damage dealer, whereas instead this is when we're utility oriented.
All right, well, they do manage to find themselves a nice pick-off, and I think even the side of EG was surprised to just find this tasty Omni Knight walking through the woods. But that is an Omni Knight down. He has no buyback right now.
Sometimes you gotta risk it. Ooh. For those tasty, tasty bounty runes.
A little bit of dewarding coming out. This might have been a mistake for this Lich. Looks like they're not going to go after him too hard. Oh, well, I mean, Arteezy was thinking about it there for a second, but...
Yeah, Crit built a 4-staff. Was it, sorry, the Tiny built a 4-staff.
That was last game.
Yeah, that was last game. It's so synonymous for me right now. Which is something I always really appreciate out of Pulse 4. Just get that 4-staff, especially for the choke point fights. One of the few items in the game, keep repeating that you can use on all 10 players. Or both for escaping as well as initiating, for saving yourself, for saving others. It is a magnificent tool.
Arteezy's just walking through the base right now. Casually, like, all right, well, just take this tower. Again, the Omni Knight's going to be up in about 2 seconds, but he just chops down the tower, no problem. Feeling very, very strong right now. There's the toss out, oh, right into the eyes over here. You are jumping forward, has his own BKB, but they're all soul bound up. They're getting the double doom finally, and they're going to force them back. They cannot fight like this as the rest of the team focuses up, starts hitting those buildings.
Both the cores, go figure. Ursa and Phantom Assassin. What a soulbind from Fly.
Great.
Yeah, the double doom follow-up. It just gave them no chance to defend. Gave you absolute free racks, and again, no kills coming out of or anything, but it still accomplished tons.
Oh, it's enough to make them retreat, which I think you're very, very happy about, especially because I think you started off with the BKB being up, and I'm not sure if did the Doom come after the BKB, or?
I didn't notice.
There's a lot going on. I just watched as Arteezy got thrown into the air into a lich who's just glaring him down. There's the Abyssal Blade coming out, though. They're going to re-engage, followed up with a nice Avalanche. The BKB getting used over here on Rezo. And the Slice is just too big. He gets himself a double kill right now, and they're still giving chase. They're all grouped up with all this chain frost, and they just don't care at all. They're going to go back, and they'll find the kill over onto Resolution. Resolution going to buy back. You get 2 buybacks coming out now. Ursa's not ready to give up. How are they going to get in there, though? Arteezy is a beast right now.
They can't touch Lifestealer. Without the MKBs, they actually just can't touch him, it seems like. Between his rage and just that evasion, again, the burn as well, the 20% evasion talent, he feels unstoppable. And so they're going to abuse that. They're going to push down mid lane, of course, with 3 dead helps. Going to make their way bottom, I'm sure, and try to finish off the Mega Creep.
Oh, the Jeep comes out. They're going to just chase Jinzo down. He is out of here. No buyback. The jumping coming out from UR. He's just trying to do anything he can, but again, they call the GG. And EG, they're off to the major.
EG going to the major. It's well played by them. So yeah, the Omni Knight factor, unfortunately, that game too, didn't really come through. I think Kips really touched on it, the idea that this was a very under-farmed off lane in general, and outside of that Heavenly Grace every now and then, he really wasn't doing much. Again, Guardian Angel felt like almost a dead ability, frankly. Purification heals, it's just so weak when there's tons of intense burst damage. I hate to say it about that game, and maybe the Omni Knight hype train is slowing down, going off course a little bit, unfortunately.
Well, I think a lot of teams are still really experimenting.
Of course.
Though the couple games that we have seen, it's just kind of been very underwhelming.
Yeah.
The idea is great, right? That's a lot of theory crafting that's involved whenever you're doing drafting, and I'm sure they've tried this out in scrims as well. But in this particular situation, and then the other one that we saw too, when we saw the Omni Knight picked up, even when he had a really great lane, depending on how you're pairing up with, all the other heroes, it's underwhelming. It can't do enough by itself, and it especially has trouble if it starts to fall behind. What do you think, Kips?
I think in this game, the Omni Knight really was a victim of this brilliant last pick by EG. You get that co-op, you need, as forward, you need to shift all of the lanes up. We saw that, no tri-lane, which means no gentleman's agreement on the top lane, which means under-farmed Omni Knight. And it just cascades from there. They made the choice to salvage that lane in mid, which is, you're already picking this kind of victory condition. That means that already in the laning stage, you're picking this condition where your cores need to be bigger than EG's cores instead of having this big team presence as a whole. And they went for that. I think they did very great with that. There were a couple of moments in this game where I really thought forward just had it going for them, but sadly, in the end, once they get forced into these choke point fights and when Arteezy is just such a beast, there is no killing EG anymore.
Yeah, it felt like Arteezy got an awful lot of space and a lot of this. Like, I think we noticed early on, right? He started to take a commanding lead. He got a 6-minute Midas, which, of course, always feels really, really good. I ended up getting that Radiance, so, his farm was starting to explode. Things were looking great because, Sumail struggling in the mid lane. Definitely, constantly getting bullied. He had the Lich over there. He had Rezo constantly spamming daggers and whatnot at you. It was very uncomfortable. But because of the fact that he was getting bullied so hard, it did make it so that way, Arteezy had the space that he needed where he could really, become this giant powerhouse. And then Sumail is a good enough player where he can just recover later on and jump right back in again because he was quite farmed at the end.
Yeah, no, he was. Like I said, it was really the Arteezy show in that case, too, as far as the end game when it came to it. But you gave Crit his Earth Spirit, very, very comfortable hero on that. And ultimately, the Doom played a bigger factor as I kind of expected, but I was hopeful maybe not as much with my prediction pick in the beginning. But Evil Geniuses, the last pick, Queen of Pain, threw everything off, as well as their gameplay in general, and they're moving on to the major once again. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff right there. I know we've got plenty more of NA Dota coming up. What's our next match that we're going to see? I believe it's going to be, is it Flying Penguins?
Yep.
Flying Penguins versus J-Storm.
Correct.
So that is one thing that everyone has been talking about all over Reddit, Twitch chat and whatnot, is the fact that,
I don't know why.
is the fact that EE Squad is it's doing it.
Yeah.
It's doing it, right? It's pretty exciting. They've got a new mid laner. They've got Gunnar now. And then they've also got, I believe, Laposa's back to the off lane, which makes me really happy because I've been watching the South American scene for so very long. And, he was as a position 5 for a while. Sorry, he's Lelis now, I think. Lelis. I'm sorry. I'm stuck on the old names. But, I'm really happy to see him back in that position because I think he's an excellent off laner. And then, of course, you've got the dynamic duo of Flea and Snake King.
Yeah.
So it's a very well-rounded team, and it's been surprising people quite a bit.
It is, but and that's, you know, you list off all those names again, fantastic names. We know they're great players, but we did not expect that victory over EG, frankly, and I think for good reason. And for them to maybe be at this point just one series away from the major because of the lack of experience, all 5 together as a team, but they can do it. It's one series, and J-Storm is a bit vulnerable right now, in my opinion. So absolutely, this should be a good series no matter what.
Just need that magic combination, but I believe we are going to head to a break before we go to this very exciting game. So please stick around, and we'll see if the EE squad can do it.